Okay, I guess we can start then.
Okay.
Okay,
Hi,
so then,
everybody. This is Andrea LaPlante, and I'm going to hand it over to Sonia. I know, Sonia, you want to share a little bit right now, and then we'll go back into it. But I know you were in the middle of sharing, so go ahead.
all right. So it all started again about prayer. That was before I met Susan. I was praying for my father's health, for his lungs, because he was having like a spot, like a dark spot that they mentioned. And I was just praying for him, being far away from home, having my parents back in Portugal, my family in Portugal. And I was, you desire for your parents to be around your kids and the grandkids and all that. So I was literally praying for him, and I was always passionate about health anyways. And I bought this book, not because of my father, but because it just got my attention, which is Divine Health, about scriptures and your health. So it was this book. It had like three different books. The one I was reading when I met Susan, I can't find it because it's on. I moved recently, and it's a mess, and I don't know where it is. But the title was Highway for Healing, or Divine Highway Healing. And that book was literally showing, first of all, the scriptures and our emotions. Even, sometimes our bitterness towards people can create, emotional, and we can, become sick for a lot of things that we're holding on. It's all scriptural based. And it was just showing, besides that, all the foods that we should be eating. And it has like lists of all the foods, fruits, vegetables, all the fruits, all the different vegetables and different fruits, like even sardines, which says was one of the best proteins that we should be eating, sardines. And I'm like, I don't like too much sardines, but whatever. All the healthy foods and nuts, everything in that book, which is scriptural. And then it comes the real food, because God created, fruits and vegetables and all from earth, for sustains our bodies. So I was learning about that. And one day, because I was reading that book, I went to the park with my kids. uh and my phone is entertained enough for me, and that day I decided, I'll bring the book to read in the park, which you don't have time to be reading a book in a park full of noise. And I was just like, on just seeing the list of stuff like this, and suddenly Susan come to me, a total stranger, just sat next to me. I'm like, and she's like, oh, what you're reading? I'm like, about divine health. Like, I'm like, I don't know why this lady is approaching me, but okay, I'm reading about divine health. She's like, I'm all about that. And we just start connecting with each other, like about all the what we thrive in our families, about health, about the kids. And we just become like friends in that little park. She was with her granddaughter, and our kids start to play together. Was three, she had a girl, I have my girls all the same age, and they were just playing. And because of that book, it got us two connected. And I didn't realize that until the end. No, until after, I don't know, months probably, that we were like, we exchange our numbers. And she didn't even talk to me about Juice Plus that day. We were just talking about health. And that was what it brought us closer. And then and it was near COVID, or was past COVID, like literally, it was 2 years ago. So that I know.
Yeah, it was
And
right before COVID, I think, is when we
right
met.
before,
Yeah,
yes, something
yeah,
like, because I remember calling you for your advice. I'm like, what should I give to the kids?
yes.
Like, she's my doctor. I'm like, I don't want to go to the doctors. And then she's just like, we just got connected, and then she introduced me to Juice Plus, and we started doing the Zoom call. And then I said, Susan, do you understand that God brought you to my life like as an answer of prayer? And she's like, oh, I don't have any doubt about that. And I'm like, wow, this is just amazing. So it was just so beautiful. And then as I'm taking the Juice Plus, so path forward, when I'm really taking it, and I like, yeah, I want to try this product. It was before was taking Juice Plus. I always remember since I was a kid having migraines, deep, really bad migraines, and becoming my norm of life. Oh, here comes a migraine. I'm useless. I can't do anything throughout the day. I have to lay down. Nobody talks to me. Even I have two sister-in-laws. They're nurses. One of them usually would bring me IVs in a home because I could not even it's like a dead person. It was so painful, so painful. And it's so funny that, when I was praying for my father, and I met Susan, and then I saw a video of Mitra, which I shared it on the platform, about the doctor saying, you think you have a headache because your deficiency of aspirin? No, it's because your lack of nutrients. And I started just bawling, when I was like, God, you're so good. You not only answer my prayers, but you gave me things that I needed, and I didn't even ask for that because I thought it was my norm to have migraines was normal. And I realized, wow, this is going to help my migraines as well. And of course, my parents are taken. I'm taken. And now I'm seeing. When before, I remember the neurologist said, you're too young. I'm not going to give you any medication. I'm like, I am suffering so much migraines. I need a prescription. She's like, you're young. There's a lack of nutrition. She said she was a young doctor, and hydration. And I'm like, okay, so you're not giving me any prescription. She's like, no, your body would get addicted to it, and you'll have even more migraines. And so good that she explained that to me, that now I totally understand. Yes, it was a lack of nutrition because I do not have my migraines anymore. Plus, it's my faith. I am not even agreeing. And today I remembered I have an IUD on because I'm like, I don't want to get pregnant, especially when I had twins. I'm like, when I went to the gynecologist, I'm like, I want a effective IUD. And she gave me one with 10 years, and she's like, but this one's going to give you headaches. And at that point I'm like, it's okay, I'll take it anyways, because at that point I'm like, all right, I'm taking Juice Plus, and I have my God that I believe. Not even when the doctor says, yeah, this is going to give you migraines, I'm like, no, I'm finding that. And it starts when my period comes, it starts migraine. But my faith, where we speak to it, and I know I'm having and it's like my migraines for 2 years is gone. Like, it starts, there's some days that either I don't take it, or I'm not, it doesn't substitute my whole food. It's literally some days I don't eat well because my fault, and I don't hydrate myself well. But my migraines was one of the things that I'm seeing for 2 years, that even I asked my husband, I said, have you seen me miserable in bed because of migraines? He's like, yeah, that's right. And I'm like, yep, that's right.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
Migraines are debilitating. They're debilitating. And
very,
so
very.
happy to hear that.
Yeah, so that was one of the things that, and then allergies. I never had allergies in my life. I came to America, and suddenly, like, I'm here, runny nose, itchy eyes, could not sleep, sneezing all night long. Went to the doctors. I did those, I don't know, 60 on my arm, like, all to see.
Allergy tests.
Yes, yeah. I could not stand what they were like, put it on your skin and then push it up, and to pull your skin up, and they're like, oh, you have chronic allergies you cannot be around. This is what the doctor like. You cannot be around carpets. You should wash your sheets 2 times a week with really hot water. When it's fall time or springtime, you cannot be outside. Don't open your windows. Don't be around trees or grass. I'm like, sir, pretty much not living. Which I love spring and I love fall. You're telling me I have to just be at home without? And he's like, yeah, if you want to avoid all of these symptoms. And I'm like, okay. So I start taking Zyrtec every day, for a long time before. So then when I start taking Juice Plus too, I was still taking Zyrtec and all that. And I realized with my faith as well, I feel like that those two, it's like the faith and the Juice Plus just comes together. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't need Zyrtec anymore. My nose is perfect. I am sleeping good. I am going outside. And it's just amazing. So allergies, chronic allergies is gone as well in the name of Jesus.
Wow.
So yes, that's so good. And then it was this year, in the beginning of the year, I did for the first time in my life a Daniel fast for 21 days. And I don't know if you, Susan and Andrea, are you familiar with the Daniel fast? That it's just vegetables and fruits, that he said to his friends that they will have more energy and look better than the other servers. And it was hard in the beginning because I like my chocolate. In the end of my meal, I like my chocolate. And I was literally for 21 days doing vegetables and fruits. And I believe, and I was faithful, and I did it all until the end. And I believe that Juice Plus helped me, because it says that the more we take it, our palate changes. So it was easier on me. It was obviously tempted seeing my husband eating, chocolate or some meats with delicious, stuff. But I hold on, and I believe that helped me. And that's my testimony.
That's
That's
incredible. I have to say, I share the same recovery story with allergies. And I won't get into it now. I can share that later. But if you want to jump into the presentation, I can pull it up on the screen. Susan, did you want to have anything that you want to add before we jump into that?
Oh, no, I think that Sonia pretty much covered all the points I would have touched upon myself. And my story about finding Juice Plus was, we were at a desperate situation with one of my children who we had been told by Children's Hospital there was really no hope for. And I had dropped on my knees begging for an answer. And that's when someone called me relentlessly, because I was difficult. I didn't understand right away about Juice Plus. And once we got started, we had so many similar improvements in our health, but most importantly, it was the catalyst to her recovery. And we were told she would have no quality of life. So that was an answer to a prayer, which I keep hearing that theme, throughout people that I'm meeting.
Amen.
Amen. Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. Okay, I'll pull this up and we can share a little bit more after. Let's see. I just want to make sure this is opened the right way. Let's see. Okay. Susan, can you give me a thumbs up? Can you see this?
Again, yeah.
Okay,
Thumbs up.
great. So basically, we all have come together because we're interested in having optimal health and having the energy and the lifestyle that we want to live with our families and be the best we can be. So these are just some statistics, and I'm not going to take too much time over it, but we know what's going on in our world and society, and how heart disease has been on the rise. And I'm sure everybody knows someone who has cancer or has recovering or in the process, or there's people who are, struggling with diabetes, type 1, type 2 diabetes, and our children and the lifestyle and the sedentary lifestyle and the packaged foods and things like that we have to fight up against has caused an obesity epidemic. But the thing that really spoke to me when I started down this path was that our children are more harmed by poor diet than by exposure to drugs, alcohol, and tobacco combined. And I'm a mom of 3 kids, and I actually got into this because I was looking for nutritional support after my son. I have 3 children, and my middle one overdosed on isolated vitamins. And I'm lucky he's healthy and thriving, but some children in 2008, there were over 51,000 calls made to poison control centers, and some of those children died. And not once had I ever heard of that. And so it just was such a wake-up call for me. Um, you know, I would have told you I was healthy. I was into fitness, and my mother is a nurse and always talked about prevention, but there was a missing link between nutrition and health that I didn't have those dots connected at the time. So when the pediatrician recommended isolated vitamins at the time, that's what I went with. And then I realized at that moment, wow, that was a man-made, manufactured, pretend nature, I guess nature's elements that the human body should absorb in its natural state. And it was isolated and it was harmful. And that just took me to, what can I find that can support my family nutritionally? Something that a pregnant mom could have, something that a baby could eat. I didn't want anything in it that you couldn't eat for any particular reason. It's just everyone can eat it. It's just food. And that was like, that's what I'm looking for. So in addition to that, we have a lot of exposures. Everybody knows there are toxins, on our food, there in our hair products, on our skin, things we put in our body, on our body, in the air, in our water. So there's a lot of things that and even the microplastics, there's a lot of things that we have to worry about, over the counter drugs and different chemicals and prescriptions. And we all do the best we can. That's number one. And at the same time, our food quality is decreasing. So we have a lot of toxins that are coming into our world that we're up against. We're doing the best we can. We're all looking for things that aren't going to harm us. And then at the same time, you walk into the grocery store and you see all this food in packages. And typically, I'll tell my clients to just shop in the perimeter of the grocery store. Don't even go in the middle. The perimeter is usually where your produce is, and you can find your whatever it is that you're looking for on the outskirts as opposed to in the middle. But more than 50% of what Americans eat is processed foods. And you can look at the list. We all know about the synthetics and the growth hormones, and it's less nutrient dense, and there are pesticides and artificial flavors and colors and emulsifiers, and it's really overwhelming. And a lot of people have been developing chronic disease and inflammation, and it's tied to our food supply. And one of the things that's happened is because, we've evolved as a society technologically, which is amazing. We're very advanced. At the same time, our food supply has lost 50 to 80% of its key nutrients before we purchase it. It has to be, shipped. You may have a orange from California or from Florida, and you're living in New England or wherever you are. You could live in California and get an orange from Florida. So our produce has to look pretty and sit in a box and get shipped and get to the store and sit on the shelf, or maybe in a box in the back until some are gone, and then those are displayed out. So you could be eating something, not only could it be a week old, but the nutrient density from when it was picked, you've lost the quality of your food. So that means you're not healing at the level you need to heal, because the nutrient density has been damaged in that food. So we need to eat that much more. So we're talking about how we can be healthy. Obviously, these are some of the other things that we can do: managing stress, sleeping 7 to 8 hours, exercising, drinking water, safer products. But the one we're talking about tonight is eating real food. And one of the other things that's really important about our health is community. I know, Sonia, with your faith and your community that you have, that's something that's so overlooked in our health today, is our attachment to community. If you look at the blue zones and how long, and the longevity of people that are living well into their hundreds, disease-free, they're eating clean, whole food, they're exercising, they're making their own food, and they have a huge compatibility with their community. So that's a great check mark for you. And we know that most diseases are preventable. It's about 75% of diseases preventable through diet and lifestyle. And a lot of times we have this oxidative stress that happens, and that's just from not being able to do all of those things we were talking about: the exercise, nutrient density, getting enough sleep, de-stressing, all of those things. And even being fit and working out causes oxidative stress. So this is just an example of, every day our DNA takes a hit, over 10,000 hits a day. And if you look at the apple, there's a clean side, and the side that started rusting is the side that does not have an antioxidant on it. So the lemon's the antioxidant. If you squeeze it on an apple, and you actually do this if you have kids, I've gone into schools and shown the kids this too, just as an example. You cut an apple in half and you squeeze lemon on one half and leave the other side to sit. And the other side that doesn't have the antioxidant gets rusty. And it's just like the inside of our body. Our bodies would start to rust, decay, break down. Nobody wants to drive an old rusty car. You would never want to get on the highway and be in this car that's unsafe, that hasn't been cared for and didn't have the oil in it. Well, it's the same thing inside our body, but the way that we help protect against that oxidative stress and that damage, that rusting, that breaking down, the drying out, is by antioxidants, which is found in fruits and vegetables. And when we talked earlier about our food supply being shipped from here and there and the nutritional value decreasing, even if we eat fruits and vegetables that we're getting at the supermarket, the nutrient density and the quality and the variety isn't there to help protect and support us from that oxidative stress. So obviously it's not the news that fruits and vegetables are good for us, because we know that. It's that they're so good for us that they actually can save your life. And this is a little bit more on the transportation. I remember bringing my son to the grocery store when he was little, and he was like, "Why are all the bananas green, Mom?" And it's just like, okay, well, I used to think as a kid that that banana was going to turn yellow and it would get more nutrient dense inside. But what happens is, because it's picked from its host and shipped, the nutrient value never reached its peak. And then as it does ripen, you're not getting more nutritious. So that's a huge, I guess you could say, blank spot. Like that's a big void in our nutrition. So it's picked before it fully develops. It's transported. 90% of Americans, but not eating not only enough servings, we don't eat enough variety. And if you think about it, you go to the store and it's coming off the winter. So what have you been eating? And the apples aren't great. It's not fall. Sometimes the oranges are good, but they could be mealy and dry. You may have a banana that's green. And what are you typically eating? Are you eating the color of the rainbow 7 days a week? So this is actually kind of where my story comes in with my son, who overdosed on isolated vitamins. 70% of Americans trying to fill the gap, really. That's what it was a good idea. Like, okay, let's fill the gaps of our nutritional deficiencies. But there's nothing that can replicate what God made, right? I mean, he made the food for us to absorb, because that's how humans thrive, right? As Sonia said. And the isolated vitamin is just that. It's isolated, it's man-made, it was put in a petri dish, and your body doesn't recognize it like it does food. And an apple has over 10,000 phytonutrients in it, just one apple. So imagine having the blueberry with 20,000, the apple with 10,000, then you throw in maybe some spinach or whatnot, and you're increasing that nutritional value. And then if you think of an orchestra, or someone Susan was talking about, she's in a room where her kids all played an instrument. And if you play an instrument alone, it may sound amazing, but when you go into an orchestra and you're playing all of them at once, it's this beautiful symphony of music. And that's just absolutely incredible. Well, that's how we want our food to work inside our body. But if we only have the same things all the time, there's not that synergy that our body needs to thrive. So this is just an example of an isolated vitamin shows supplement facts label. And then to the right of the apple, you can see all those tens of thousands of phytonutrients. That's just in one apple. It's just in one. So in a vitamin, an isolated vitamin, someone in a lab might pick apart the top 5 or 6 in that list. Why would we want to leave anything out? I mean, there's that saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away. And that's just, that didn't come, that's a true statement, is I guess what I'm trying to say. So what is Juice Plus? It's a salad bar in a capsule. It's that apple you just saw crushed. It's grown to reach its peak. So it grows on the farmers that this company has worked with. This company's been around for over 50 years. They work with the same local farmers that specialize in one crop. So that apple farmer only grows apples. And it doesn't have to look pretty, doesn't have to sit in a store on a shelf or be shipped cross country. It's literally allowed to look funky, or it can be not pretty. And actually, apples are fruit and vegetables that might look a little bit funny, have more nutrient value in them. Like an apple that has maybe distorted coloring may have a sunburn, and it has to work extra hard to protect from the sun, so it has more nutrient value and density in it. But that would probably be tossed if it was going to a store, because it wouldn't look right. So these produce, the fruits and vegetables, are just washed with water and crushed whole. So when you think about sometimes people will say to me, well, I do eat oranges a lot, but do you eat the orange peel? That's where the bioflavonoids are. Do you eat the seeds? Do you eat the skins? Do you eat the core of the apple? Typically we don't, but there's so much nutritional value in the skins, the peels, the cores, and things like that. So it comes in fruit, vegetable, and berry blends. And earlier when I mentioned how many colors, I would say this to my kids all the time. How many colors on your plate tonight? And there might be, strawberries when they were little, just that, and that's a good place to start. But we try to add more in throughout the day, or just like take a look at, okay, it's New England. What have we eaten a lot of and we haven't gotten a lot of something else? So when you look at this image, this is what I saw when I went to my gym. I would have to say, how many years ago? About 11 years ago. And I was like, where has this been? I was so frustrated that I hadn't heard of it sooner. Like, why would I want an isolated vitamin when I can get all of these phytonutrients, polyphenols from actual whole food? So if you look at the food here, I've never even gotten currants for my family. I saw them on a farm stand once, red currants in this little box, and they were like $10. And I thought, first of all, my family's not going to eat currants, and that it was so expensive for this small little thing, and it would have been gone. And you're looking at all of this, and all of this food is crushed whole. So you've got the carrot, but you also have the stems of the carrot, and you have the beets with the leaves and the broccoli with the stem. Typically you give your kids broccoli, they're not eating the stem of the broccoli. There's so much that goes into this that is not left out. It's just all the skins, the seeds, the cores, the peels, all thrown in like a big vat, crushed whole, and then they're put in the various blends, the fruit, vegetable, and berry blend. We also have a vegan omega. So this company takes pride in being the leader in plant-based nutrition. This was created for a man who was dying of cancer, and his father was an herbalist, and he grew these and studied which plants work synergistically in the body to help heal. And this is a blend that came out a couple of years ago, and our bodies, our brains, especially today, with all of the technology, we are on smartphones, and our brains are working overtime, and there's so much stimulation. And we're hearing that, Alzheimer's and dementia is on the rise, and a lot of people are having brain health issues, and, children in school struggling, trying to stay focused and putting on meds and things like that, because there's a lot going on with the brain today. And what we need to do is just really douse our brain with healthy fats. So we need these omegas every day. Our body doesn't make them separately. We have to actually add them in. So this is a vegan omega. And what I love about it is it's separate from if you were to get fish oil. And fish oil today cannot be, a lot of times it's not sustainable. Thousands and thousands of pounds of fish for a little ounce of fish oil. You have to worry about, is it farm raised? Is it wild caught? So you're utilizing all that fish, which you're not doing here. These are cold pressed seeds and berries. It's pure plant-based, pure and sustainable. And it's not only just omega-3, but 3, 5, 6, 7, and 9. And it's a vegan capsule. And one of the things I love about it is if you look at the omega, there's a little bubble in it, and it's a nitrogen bubble, so that when they seal the capsule, they're not heating the oils inside, because that depletes the nutrient value of the consistency of the omegas. And if you were to look at a fish oil's usually very hard, and the oil has already gone rancid. They have to heat the capsule up so much, and the oil gets all overheated, and you're not even absorbing nutrition from that omega. So then we have our vegan nutritional beverage, which is called Complete, which is something my family has been eating now. My husband has this every morning for breakfast. I've been eating this every day. We also have a Perform for the gym. So I have actually two now, one I have after the gym and one I have, as a meal replacement. But what I love about it is it has a lot of prebiotic fiber in it. And our gut is really where our immune system is housed. So we want to make sure that we're giving our gut as much fiber as we can, and healing it from the inside out. And the prebiotic fiber helps feed our good gut bacteria. And people will say to me, well, what about adding a probiotic? And adding a probiotic is a good idea. You just want to think about not continuing on and not having a certain type of just one bacteria, but adding a prebiotic and feeding the gut bacteria that you have and that variety that you have is such a great way to keep your gut healthy. So this is just a great way to have a breakfast or an afternoon pick-me-up. I make complete balls and bars for my athletes. My son shakes it and runs out the door to school. And you're giving your body gluten-free, dairy-free option for breakfast and lunch or however you want to have it. But the most important thing, I think, when Sonia was talking about, adding food and what God has provided and not being a multivitamin, this is like when I say a salad bar and a capsule, I love to say like going to the farmer's market, and you just putting all this variety together, and then it's encapsulated. And it's encapsulated because if you open a, a jar and you have powder in it, every time you open it, it's oxidized. So they wanted to make sure that the nutrient value is in these little capsules, and that's not being disturbed until you swallow the capsule and gets into your bloodstream and it goes to work. And there's also chewables for kids. Some adults like the chewables too. But if you're an adult and this makes sense to you, you can sponsor a child for free up until they are 24 years old, which is absolutely incredible. It's a food label, non-GMO, vegan, kosher, gluten and dairy free. The NSF certification means basically, in a nutshell, that it's a higher standard than organic. I mean, we look for organic as much as we can. We do the best we can. But NSF means that they've done the standard. And I actually went to the farm. I saw the kale farm. I saw how they were testing the produce. They had just taken pumpkins in from the field, and they only work on one crop at a time. And it smelled amazing, by the way. It smelled like pumpkin pie. And they had crushed the pumpkins, dehydrated, removed the sugar in the water. It was just pumpkin powder. And on the wall, every hour they tested it for just something if anything blew into the field. So in addition to testing it at the actual facility, a third party comes in and has this huge checklist. Is like, okay, heavy metals, molds, mildews, like all of these things. So that's why it's clean and safe for anybody who's suffering, say, from some debilitating disease. A baby at 6 months old, nursing, pregnant moms, which I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like finally something that it's just food. We can eat this. It has a nutrition label, and it's actually the most researched product in the world. So these are just some of the things that it's been proven to do once you absorb it into your bloodstream. I love that it helps protect your DNA, reduces that oxidative stress, like that apple we talked about that was turning rusty. We don't want anything in our body to be dry and broken. And those omegas will help oil up your body. So it'll keep your cells pliable, so they're not hard and have difficult absorbing. It helps you actually absorb the nutrition in. And the Juice Plus, all of the colors of the rainbow go to all of your organs and they work those properly. But you can see cardiovascular wellness, inflammatory responses. So many people have inflammation that they feel, and then there's silent inflammation we don't feel that could be going on for years until we start to feel it. So we want to reduce that inflammatory marker, support your quality of life, cholesterol, triglycerides, health, skin and gums. We know the gums are basically you look at someone's mouth and you can tell with their gums if they're healthy what looks like inside your body with inflammation, and helps balance the immune system, reduces oxidative stress, and is absorbed by the body. And I know Sonia talked about having migraines, but when I was a teenager having, female issues, I used to have around that time of the month a lot of different symptoms with bloating or cramps or migraines. And I changed up my diet, as an adult. When I added this to my diet, I didn't even know when that was happening. I had no, it was to the point where it was like I had to make sure I mark it down because I wasn't having any of those symptoms that I had before. And I know that it was balancing my immune system, which was balancing my hormones. So when you can balance your immune system, you balance your hormones. And one of the ways to do that is by nourishing your body at a cellular level. So we also, when I mentioned children are free, the company has done a research study on the children who have been eating Juice Plus over the years. 60% missing fewer school days, 56% taking less meds with side effects, which is awesome. 71% drinking more water, visiting the doctor less, consuming less fast food, and eating more fruits and vegetables. And for me, this 100% took over with my family and my kids. We ended up I'd let them take one day, a well day when they were younger, because they stopped going to the doctor for being sick. So I'd say, hey, if you want to take a day off, we'll go do something fun. And, I'd take them to lunch or we'd go shopping or do something. And then eventually they get older and they're like, Mom, I don't want to do that anymore. But I mean, how amazing is that? When they were little, it was like going to the doctor for this ear infections and things that I didn't know was connected to food and lack of nutrition and all of the things, the inflammation and just little ailments that they had with their skin. And I look back and I'm like, oh, I wish I knew about this sooner, because what happened with my family, I dove in and I started educating myself, partnered with this company, the education that this provides, and the whole quality of my family's nutrition has completely changed. And it's been 11 years. We go to well checks as a family. It's been absolutely amazing. So when you think of it like that, you're not you're living with vitality, and your body's doing what it needs to do to heal every day. And this is a tool to help your body do that. If you love the idea of growing your own, or even helping others grow their own, or having your child grow their own at school, there's about 11 towers in my community in schools, and the kids are growing food and bringing it to their cafeteria. Imagine just picking your own and eating it, not having to worry about recalls or chemicals, contaminants, who's touched it, where was it shipped from, pests or anything like that. You can grow, I have one in front of me, in your home year round. You can take it outside. If you think of churches or food pantries, or just helping feed the world this way, it's 98% less water, 90% less space. It's called the Tower Garden. It's 30% more yield, 3 times faster, and you're getting more plants in your body, unaltered, in a variety. And it's just absolutely amazing. It's the future of gardening. So if that interests you too, you can ask more about that. But this is just a picture of some of the kids that were growing in my local town and bringing it to their cafeteria. And what's amazing is so many kids had never eaten lettuce, and they'd say, oh, Mrs. LaPlante, I didn't know lettuce had a smell. It's supposed to smell. It's supposed to have, just like your orange should smell. Just like when you cut open a peach, you should smell it. And when you don't, it means there's no nutrition in it. So when you're picking the lettuce and you smell it on your fingertips, and the basil, you're smelling nutrition, you're smelling nutrient density. So these kids would pick it and they would say, oh my gosh, and the bok choy is so spicy. And it was just amazing to see them. Parents say, my child's never eaten anything green, but because they were growing it, they wanted to eat it. This was mine in the summer outside, and the other ones were just inside. You can see how beautiful that is. So I'll just stop the share here. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. And if not, and you want to just absorb everything, you can reach out to Sonia, and Sonia will help answer your questions as well. But if it's something that you like for yourself, you can get started. And I know Sonia and Susan have partnered with the company if you like to get your product at cost, or if you want to help others or earn income, all of that. Or you could just be a customer. But we've been eating this now for over 11 years. And I think of it as an investment in our health. And like I'm brushing my teeth every day. I won't go a day without it. And I have 3 athletes. They're in college. 2 of them are college athletes. They actually both texted me today, Mom, I'm running low. Like, they know that their friends are recovering longer from injuries or getting sick more. And they're just like, this is so important. This is my leg up nutritionally, athletically, and academically. So, and they want to have fun, right? So they want to feel their best. So it's just been such a gift. I think of it as a gift. It's just a gift. And I just feel blessed to be able to share it because it has made such a difference in my life. So Sonia, feel free to share if you want to close it out and just say goodnight to everybody, or if there's anything else you want to add.
Yeah, no, I actually forgot when you talked about kids, like I'm blessed as well. First, I since my girls were like 1 year old, when they start getting some food, I always it's a Portuguese thing. So you give soups every day from regular vegetables from the market, and they've been eating soups every single day until now. And even them, they're like, Mom, literally, why do we have to eat soups? Nobody in my school, when I asked, nobody, I'm like, it's okay. It's because you just tell mommy is Portuguese. That's it. And that's what I tell them. And I can see that the power of vegetables is doing on them, because like I just go once a year just to see the checkup. And of course, and I'm adding in the beginning, when I start having the Juice Plus too, I would even add on top of their soup the vegetables and fruit capsules, open and mix. The taste will be different, but they would take it. And now obviously they take the gummies every day. So I'm so blessed. And today I even talked with one of the mom. Oh, I think it's coming on the school, a bug, and it never reaches my kids. Thank God. It's like, okay, it goes away, or they don't get it, or I don't know if their immune system is strong. I just find that my kids are pretty healthy, and I'm so grateful for that. And I know the soups that I make makes a difference, and the vitamins I make sure, I'm like, did you eat your vitamines? And they're like, no, Mom. I'm like, go get it. Just go get it. And they're like, always, let's get the ones from a Target. They're more sweet. I'm like, yep, they're more sweet, but they're not as good. Because in the beginning, before the Juice Plus, I used to give those to them, the sweet from Target. And it's like, now I see the difference. I'm like, nope, we don't, not those ones. Those are like candy. So yeah, it's pretty good.
Well, one of the things that this company does so well too is gives back. We give back in such a big way. We're one of the biggest supporters of St. Jude's. We've given, if you know it, a Boys and Girls Club, you can get a Tower Garden in there for free. If you have a relationship with a Boys and Girls Club around the world, around the country. So really just trying to do, there's a lot of giving back in terms of giving. So that's just near and dear to my heart too. I know it is with yours and Susan's too, just being part of something. And the Children's Health Study, where an adult orders and you can get a child's product for free. That's up till 24 years of age, which is just unheard of. Like, that you're just allowing families to be able to get healthy together and giving that away. It's you to be able to give that extra nutrition to a family. It's just such a game changer. Susan, did you have
Yeah.
anything you wanted to add before we close out?
I'm really on the same page with everything you're both have said, and the changes that we have seen in our my children. I have 4 kids, and my story is so long. I could almost touch upon any subject because we had very complicated autoimmune issues here in my family. And one of them is celiac. We're all celiac disease, and the changes that we have found from starting with the added fruits and vegetables. And I was a health nut, by the way, before I started Juice Plus. I thought I knew it all and I had it all together. And the changes we have seen, all of their issues have been resolved. No more asthma, all those allergy attacks they had. It's just, you guys, you brought me back to the beginning of where we were. I had forgotten we had all those complications because it's been so long since we've had them. So yeah, the community, the Juice Plus community and what the company stands for and the people I've met, I just feel the blessings just keep continuing.
Amen.
That's fantastic. So
Mhm.
if nobody has any questions, we can close out the call. And if you want more information, just feel free to reach out to Sonia and
Yeah.
we can help answer
I
them.
just,
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know if anybody, but I talked today with one of the ladies. I don't know if she's here. No, I don't think she is. She probably couldn't make it because of her kid, but she was just struggling with thyroid, that she said that she was diagnosed, and she was actually crying when I called her because she said her heart was beating so much and she needed to take the medication that they didn't refill her prescription, and she said she was just so stressed out. And I'm like, okay, if you cannot come, I'll ask that for you. So what's that would be just taking the Juice Plus, like two of each for thyroid. Does that help with
Yeah,
thyroid as well?
so since it's food, it's not something that's going to, we say, cure any particular, but what it's
Right.
going to do is it's going to nourish your body at a cellular level so every organ works at its optimal. So everything's working well. Your immune system becomes balanced. When your immune system's balanced, it helps balance hormones. When hormones are balanced, it helps balance your thyroid. When you're getting all the red grapes and berries in your bloodstream, it helps with your blood flow. It helps bring nourishment to your brain. All the other different colors work various organs and they're all working them together. So whenever you get this nutrition and your body's absorbing it, it starts allowing your body to heal and gets into
Gotcha.
balance. And if something's off and something might not be working, the nutrition's just going to help it all get
Gotcha.
better, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Good.
So if
Yeah.
she was asking, like even someone, whoever starts, it is 2 capsules every day. Um, and with that
Of
said,
each.
my 2 capsules of each color a day. And I've had instances where my kids are high-end athletes, and my daughter had an injury where a horse kicked her and she had an open wound fracture. Her bone was sticking out of her arm and she had to have it reconstructed. So during that week of surgery and the things that she needed, we increased her Juice Plus 6 red, 6 green, 6 purple, put it all in her smoothie. And she and my son, who's a football player, he's a running back. He's getting hit all the time. During football season, he increases it and then he'll go back. But I have 2 of each a day. He doesn't ever go back to 2 a day. He has 3 of each a day
Oh,
indefinitely. And then during intense practices and things, he'll go up to sometimes 6 a day and then go back down. So I guess my point to that is it's just food. If you need more, you can take more. Some
gotcha.
people, might need more during a certain period of time. But just if, carrying on with those 2 a day is going to be the norm for most people. Yeah.
Gotcha. So do you suggest any like disease, like I did with her? Yeah, it was this lady again that she had like this complications and with other medications, like, and she was afraid that it would mess up, with her other medications. Would that mess up with
No, that's a
food?
great question. And a lot of people ask that because it's hard to wrap your head around the fact that it's just like a salad and a capsule. So if she can eat a salad every day, then she can eat this. It's
Right,
just a salad and a capsule. And
right,
because it's in a capsule, sometimes you think, oh, well, maybe I couldn't eat it but if you can eat lettuce, then you can eat this. If you can eat beets, so it's food. And so it can't mix with something because it's just the food she would eat anyway.
right.
And you can
And so
even
how?
open the capsules and then you
Right.
taste it. So, Dr. Sears will have moms lick their fingers for their 6-month-old babies and touch the veggie and put it in the
Mhm.
baby's mouth and their tongue. because it's food. And
Right.
you can actually smell like a little bit of the garlic and, the
Yep.
veggies.
Yep. 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 And it's
So I was gonna say, if you leave a capsule open, if you open it and leave it on your counter, you'll get fruit flies. That was my test to see if it was real, and it was real. I got fruit flies.
oh, that's funny.
I have a
That's funny.
question. How about for anemia? What is the benefit of Juice Plus for anemia?
Anemia. What's
Mhm.
great about Juice Plus for anemia is when you eat, well, adding the red grapes and berries, the berry blend is great because it helps with blood flow and circulation. And the other thing about anemia is I know when you have low iron, a lot of
Mhm.
times people say you have you have to eat certain fruit in order, and veggies for your body to absorb iron. This is already the variety that's presenting itself. Your body will have the orange in it with the spinach. And basically, what it's going to do is help your cells absorb nutrition at a higher level so that your anemia over time can dissipate. It's not like something the thing about this is it's not like a prescription where you eat a prescription and your whatever it is, infection starts to go. This is something you start eating over time, like where Susan said, that's weird. Like I forgot that we had that. That was Sonia with the allergies. It was like I didn't go into this looking to get rid of my allergies. I thought I just had allergies and it was genetic. And then same for me. It was like, oh, I didn't need my Flonase. That was weird. I could never go outside and not have a sinus infection in the fall. I just thought that's what I would have had. It's been 11 years. I haven't had one sinus infection. I don't have allergies. They're completely gone. I reversed that chronic illness, but it didn't happen overnight. It was steps that took for my body to heal. So same for anemia or whatever else it is. It's just your body's going to absorb, it's going to start healing, and over time, you're going to notice benefits of.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
Yes. And for high blood pressure, like normal, what everybody takes prescriptions for it. I'm talking about for my mother-in-law that she's still skeptical when I talk about it. She's still skeptical. She's like, "Oh, this is what I have to take," but she has high blood pressure. What other normal? I forgot. And so this would help too over time. Like I said, it would not be like the prescription that she takes, but it will eventually go away.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to make everything better, and I can't speak to what's going on with your mother-in-law and what's going on with her heart, but it's going to help. The blood circulation, the red grapes and berries. My parents have been on Juice Plus for years. And my mother has a small, natural, blood thinner that she uses. But other than that, they don't have a big pile of meds that they eat. But as you age, certain things come about. So we can't say, oh, she has this, she's going to be completely, but it's going to help her. It's going to
Right.
help her along the way.
That's right.
I
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they said that if you're taking the red and the green, I think you have like a 78% increase in cardiovascular circulation. And if you take the red, the green, the purple, and now with the omegas, over 98% increase in cardiovascular circulation, breakdown of plaque and buildup in the arteries. There's all kinds of cardiovascular research that we can look into, help you find in your office, Sonia, if you
Right.
need to. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's good. Yes. It's a habit. It's now it's so normal to take that, and it's a blessing. Yeah. It's a
Sure
Well,
is.
peace of
thanks for
mind.
joining us tonight.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you all
It
for
was such
joining.
a
Yeah.
great night. It was so nice to meet everybody. And
Thank
I
you.
will, the call is going to be recorded. So if anybody wants to rewatch it, or I can send it to you, Sonia, and you can share
Okay.
it.
Yeah, that would be great. You can send it, please.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Andrea.
Absolutely. Have a great night, everybody.
Thank you,
Good
ladies. You
Thank
night.
too.
you,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you for
Good
coming.
night.
Have
Bye.
a good night.
Bye.